There are cars that become legends because they dominate racetracks. Others earn their reputation by breaking speed records or winning championships. But every once in a while, a car comes along that changes an entire industry without anyone expecting it. The Audi RS2 Avant was exactly that kind of car. It wasn't a sleek supercar, an expensive grand tourer, or an exotic coupe. It was a practical 5-door family wagon with enough cargo space for groceries, luggage, and everyday life. Yet hidden beneath its understated body was a machine capable of embarrassing some of the fastest sports cars of the 1990s. Even more surprisingly, it was built with the help of Porsche. Looking back today, it's almost impossible to imagine the modern Audi RS lineup without the RS2, because this single car laid the foundation for everything that followed. But in the early 1990s, Audi was facing a serious challenge. The brand had already earned worldwide respect thanks to the revolutionary Quattro all-wheel drive system that dominated rally racing throughout the 1980s, proving that four-driven wheels could outperform traditional rear-wheel drive rivals in almost every condition. However, despite that motorsport success, Audi still struggled with its image. BMW was known as the driver's brand, Mercedes-Benz represented luxury and prestige, while Audi was often seen simply as the sensible choice. The company needed something extraordinary, something capable of changing how people viewed the four rings forever. Instead of developing another comfortable executive sedan, Audi made a decision that seemed almost irrational. They chose the practical Audi A8 Avant as the foundation for a high-performance flagship. But even that wasn't enough. To create something truly unforgettable, Audi turned to another German manufacturer that desperately needed work after the decline of the supercar market in the early 1990s. That company was Porsche. At Porsche's Rosselbau factory in Zuffenhausen, engineers began transforming Audi's sensible family wagon into something nobody had ever seen before. The standard turbocharged 5-cylinder engine received a larger turbocharger, revised camshafts, a more efficient intercooler, upgraded fuel injectors, and extensive changes developed with Porsche's engineering expertise. The result was a 2.2-liter turbocharged inline-five producing 315 horsepower and 302 lb-ft of torque, figures that were astonishing for a station wagon in 1994. Even more impressive was how that power reached the road. Audi's legendary permanent Quattro all-wheel drive system delivered incredible traction in every weather condition, allowing the RS2 to launch with an aggression that many rear-wheel drive sports cars simply couldn't match. 0 to 60 took less than 5 seconds, making it quicker than the Ferrari 348 and even faster than several generations of the Porsche 911 available at the time. Imagine explaining to someone in 1994 that the quickest way to outrun an exotic sports car was to buy a station wagon with room for a family and luggage. Most people would have laughed. Yet that's exactly what Audi and Porsche created. Visually, the RS2 also reflected this unusual philosophy. At first glance, it looked like a clean and elegant Audi Avant. But enthusiasts immediately noticed the details. Porsche-designed mirrors, larger Brembo brakes hidden behind distinctive Porsche Cup wheels, revised bumpers, subtle RS badging, and a lower, more aggressive stance hinted that this wasn't an ordinary family car. Personally, I think that's one of the reasons the RS2 has aged so beautifully. It never relied on oversized wings or dramatic styling. It earned respect because everything about it had a purpose. More importantly, it proved something the automotive world had never truly considered before, that practicality and extreme performance didn't have to exist separately. Without realizing it, Audi had just invented a completely new category of automobile. The performance wagon wasn't simply born, it had arrived with enough speed to challenge the very sports cars people believed could never be caught. The most remarkable thing about the Audi RS2 Avant wasn't how fast it was what happened after people started driving it. Journalists expected an interesting collaboration between Audi and Porsche. Instead, they discovered a car that completely challenged the idea of what a performance vehicle should be. Until then, most enthusiasts believed speed came with compromises. If you wanted a true sports car, you accepted a cramped cabin, limited practicality, and uncomfortable suspension. Family cars, on the other hand, were expected to be slow, quiet, and predictable. The RS2 destroyed that way of thinking almost overnight. It proved that one car could carry a family to school on Monday morning, survive a snowstorm thanks to Quattro all-wheel drive, cruise comfortably across Europe, and then outrun exotic sports cars on an unrestricted section of the Autobahn. Personally, I think that's the moment Audi stopped competing only with BMW and Mercedes-Benz and began competing with Porsche and Ferrari as well. Under the hood, the legendary turbocharged 5-cylinder engine became one of the defining characteristics of the RS2. Unlike naturally aspirated performance cars that delivered smooth, linear power, the RS2 had unmistakable turbocharged personality. Below 3,000 RPM it felt calm and composed, almost like any ordinary executive wagon. But as boost pressure built, the engine suddenly came alive with an addictive surge of acceleration accompanied by the unique offbeat sound that only Audi's inline-five could produce. Even today, many enthusiasts consider that distinctive exhaust note one of the greatest sounds in automotive history. Porsche's involvement extended far beyond engine development. The braking system came directly from the Porsche 968 Club Sport, featuring massive Brembo calipers that gave the RS2 stopping power worthy of a genuine sports car. Porsche also contributed to suspension tuning, wheel design, exterior mirrors, and numerous small engineering details that elevated the finished product far beyond a modified Audi 80. Every completed RS2 even rolled off Porsche's own production line in Zuffenhausen, making it one of the most unusual collaborations the automotive world has ever seen. Despite its impressive engineering, the RS2 remained surprisingly understated. There were no oversized spoilers or dramatic body kits demanding attention. Most people simply saw another Audi station wagon. That subtle appearance quickly earned the car legendary sleeper status. Drivers of expensive sports cars often underestimated it, until the traffic lights turned green. Stories began spreading across Europe about Ferraris, Corvettes, BMW M cars, and even Porsche owners being caught off guard by an ordinary-looking family wagon that simply refused to fall behind. Naturally, that performance also attracted the tuning community. The robust 2.2-liter turbocharged engine proved capable of handling significantly more power with relatively modest modifications. Larger turbochargers, upgraded intercoolers, freer-flowing exhaust systems, revised engine management, and strengthened internal components allowed many owners to push output well beyond 450 or even 500 horsepower, astonishing numbers for the mid and late 1990s. The RS2 became a favorite among enthusiasts not because it needed more performance, but because it responded so well to thoughtful upgrades while retaining its everyday usability. Of course, owning an RS2 wasn't without challenges. Replacement Porsche-specific components could be expensive, sourcing original parts became increasingly difficult as production numbers remained extremely limited, and maintaining a high-performance turbocharged engine required careful attention. Yet those very challenges helped preserve the car's exclusivity. Audi built fewer than 3,000 examples, and every passing year made surviving cars even more desirable among collectors. Today, clean original RS2 Avants command prices that few could have imagined when they were new, not simply because they're rare, but because they represent the beginning of something much larger. Without the RS2, there would likely be no RS4, no RS6, and perhaps no modern high-performance Audi lineup as we know it today. Looking back, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. The RS2 wasn't created to start a dynasty. It was built as a bold experiment between two German manufacturers. But sometimes the greatest legends aren't planned, they're the unexpected result of engineers deciding to ignore convention and build something the world had never seen before. The Audi RS2 Avant was never supposed to become one of the most influential performance cars in history. It wasn't created to launch a legendary lineup, redefine the sports wagon, or establish Audi as one of the world's greatest performance brands. It began as an ambitious collaboration between two German manufacturers trying to solve very different problems. Audi wanted to prove it could build something extraordinary, while Porsche needed new engineering projects during a difficult period for the company. Neither could have predicted that their partnership would create a car enthusiasts would still be talking about more than 30 years later. Looking back today, it's fascinating how one relatively small production run changed the direction of an entire brand. The RS2 demonstrated that breathtaking performance didn't have to come in the shape of a low-slung supercar. It could arrive disguised as a practical family wagon, capable of carrying children to school in the morning and outrunning exotic sports cars later that same afternoon. Personally, I think that's what makes the RS2 so unforgettable. It never relied on flashy styling or outrageous marketing. It earned its reputation by quietly proving everyone else wrong. Every modern Audi RS model, from the RS4 and RS6 to today's RS3 and RS7, owes part of its existence to the car that started everything in 1994. Without the RS2, Audi's performance division might look completely different today. Collectors now search for original examples not simply because they're rare, but because they represent the beginning of one of the greatest performance stories ever written. In many ways, the RS2 became far more than just another fast Audi. It became the blueprint for an entirely new philosophy, one where practicality, engineering, and extraordinary performance could exist in perfect harmony. Some cars become classics because they were successful. Others become legends because they changed the rules forever. The Audi RS2 Avant managed to do both. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more stories about the world's most legendary automobiles. Every subscription helps the channel continue bringing these incredible automotive stories back to life. And now I'd love to hear your opinion. If you could choose one legendary performance wagon for your garage, would it be the Audi RS2 Avant, the BMW M5 Touring, the Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG Estate, or the legendary Audi RS6 Avant? Tell me your choice and why in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next documentary.